Join me right now on Kumite TV is UFC light heavyweight Ed Herman. What's going on, Ed?
Just chilling, man. Relaxing after, my last training session. So just home with the family for the night, kicking back.
When I heard on an interview before that you're possibly thinking about joining the fire department. What is the status on that?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get in the Portland Fire Department out here. I've made it through the first couple parts of the hiring process, so I think I'm in the interview process next. So after this fight, I might start, with the interview process and kind of see how things go.
How is all that going? It's not like you're early, like you're in your early 20s or anything like that. So it must be tough.
Right. No, I mean, I passed the physical part, no problem. The book testing is probably the harder part. It's been a while since I've, done a lot of book work and had to study, so that's probably the harder part for me. But yeah, man, most of the guys I know who are firefighters are my age, really. Um, so I think it translates well, kind of with life experience. They don't want a bunch of babies straight out of college who don't know shit about life and real life experience. So, being an athlete and a teammate my entire life, it's kind of a good and easy transition, I think. Being part of a team, with guys being able to trust you with their lives, kind of what we've been doing for years.
Is that what you're looking at post fight career?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of what I'm looking at post fight career. Again, I think it'd be a good fit being part of a team. A lot of ex-athletes and military guys, and a bunch of the guys that train with are firefighters, and some decent security benefits and retirement. Which you don't really have being self-employed.
You've been with the organization for more than 10 years. When you start another training camp, does that ever go through your mind?
I don't really think about it a lot. I get reminded of it from time to time, so I try not to think about that. Just trying to stay fresh, trying to feel young.
When you see the state of MMA right now, the whole trash talking and stuff like that going on, what is your thoughts when you watch that from afar?
Some of it's fun to watch. Some of it's fun to be a part of. I think it just depends on who's on the other side of it.
Who do you particularly like?
Masvidal is one of my favorites. Not only as a fighter, but he's pretty clever. With his smack talking. So I've always been a big fan of his, for sure.
All right, let's turn the attention to your fight career. The last 2 years, you've been fighting once a year. How frustrating has that been, the last 24 months or so?
It's tough. I went into the fight with CB Dalloway with an injured knee. I didn't know how bad it was until after the fight. I got an MRI. Turns out I had a torn ACL. So, I was out, 12, 14 months before the fight with Volante. So it's like I'm always playing catch up after being injured. It was nice to go into this camp with no injuries off the Volante fight, besides just being a little banged up from punching him in the head so many times. My hands were a little sore, but overall I felt good. Starting camp out in a lot better place than I did for my last camp. Coming off the long layoff, so I'm just taking it as it comes, man. I feel like I get to do this. I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to continue to fight. So I'm just going to keep rolling as long as I can, really.
Yeah, let's get into that. Your last fight, UFC Moncton, you dropped a close decision to Volante. How disappointed were you with that outcome?
I mean, obviously, you guys heard me after the fight complaining. I was definitely disappointed. Like I've said in other interviews, a loss is a loss. I can take that, but the financial part's the hard part. If we had like in boxing, there's guaranteed flat rates a lot of times. If I was on a flat rate, it'd be a little more acceptable because I'd go out there and lay my heart out on the line, my body. So the thing that made me the most upset was the money. You get that loss. That's big difference in finances for me and my family over the next year or whatever. So that's the most frustrating part. I didn't mean to take anything away from John by complaining about the decision because he's a hell of a competitor. I respect him a lot, and it was a very close fight. I could have done a little more in the third round to, secure that victory. So, I learned some lessons from that.
You had some serious injuries in the past, some tough losses throughout the years. You see guys nowadays getting cut after 2 fights. What do you credit your longevity to, man? Because you've been around forever.
Just getting in there and putting on a show and throwing down, trying to finish guys. I go in there to fight. You don't see me in there trying to outpoint somebody and just win. To me, I'm going in there to fight. Unfortunately, I wish I was a little smarter, and I did try to outpoint guys a little bit more because financially maybe that would be a little bit more beneficial to me. But, I'm a warrior. I'm a dog. I get in there and I want to scrap, and I think they appreciate that.
Do you think if you did go in there and outpoint guys, you would still be in the UFC?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let's talk about your upcoming fight at UFC Rochester. You're facing Patrick Cummins. They never give you an easy fight, man. They're always giving you the toughest challenges. What are your thoughts on him?
I think it's a good matchup for me. We're both a couple old dogs, still in the fight game. So it's a good matchup. There's some tougher fights out there for sure. Some young guys, some of these young cats coming up, pose a lot of different problems for an older fighter in a lot of different ways. Not that I can't get in there and bang with these young guys. I can. But I think it's a great matchup with me and Pat. We're both coming off some losses. I don't know, maybe it's a loser gets cut kind of fight thing. I'm not really sure where the matchup came from. But, we both like to have a good time. We're not like big smack talkers. So it's cool to get in there and battle against somebody who's kind of like having some fun with it too and not taking it so serious in the sense of like, I don't know, what I mean, the animosity and stuff. Like we can get in there, touch it up, make some money, have some beers afterwards.
You've been through a lot of camps at the highest level. Were there any changes you made, in this camp leading up?
Yeah, I brought in Mike Pierce, who's a ex-UFC fighter, as my wrestling coach. I hired him, so he's in there working with me, 3-4 days a week with my, my wrestling, my MMA wrestling, which is good. It's kind of bringing me back to my roots. I started as a wrestler. I wasn't necessarily like a high-level collegiate wrestler. I never got the opportunity to go to college and do that. But, I think it's been a missing part of the last few camps. I should have brought a guy in like Mike maybe this last camp against Vellante because 1 or 2 takedowns would have made the difference in that fight. So this fight coming forward, I'm looking to go in there and show that I can wrestle with the best of them and, put my hands on this guy, put him on his back, out wrestle him, and prove to, myself and everybody that, I'm still the man.
This is your 4th fight at light heavyweight. What have you experienced in the first couple fights that you can take into this matchup?
Gosh, it's not like I lost any of the fights by some kind of, something I did wrong. Really, like Krylov caught me with an awesome ninja kick to the head, So I guess just working on basics, staying clean, keeping my hands up, not making little mistakes. Because at this level, one little mistake can cost you the fight, It can be a close fight, but you make that one small mistake, whatever it may be, it can lose you the fight. So just being on point and staying 100% focused for the entire 15 minutes that I'm in there.
Where do you see as the keys to taking out Cummins?
Just doing what I do, especially with my boxing game, the way it's came along the last few years, moving my feet, letting my hands go, hitting him hard. Maybe he's got a game plan to stand with me, but as soon as I start touching him with my hands, he's going to be shooting, I guarantee it. He's not going to want to stand with me. Sprawl and brawl, baby, old school Chuck Liddell style, right? Let's defend those takedowns and knock people out. But you might see me wrestle a little bit too, offense is defense. So I think you guys will all be very happy with the progression that I've made over this last camp, and I can really get out there and show off all my skills.
You mentioned earlier that this could be kind of like a loser leaves town type of matchup. What is your mentality going into it? Are you going in with this mentality, or are you just going in with the same mentality you have always been?
Kind of same mentality, man. Like, it is what it is. If they cut me or something, fine. If I lose, whatever. It's kind of like I'm a professional gambler. I know what I'm getting into. You're kind of rolling the dice out there. If you win, you can win big financially with bonuses and stuff like that. If you lose, you kind of got to go off of that mindset. I'm trying to prepare myself for the future. If I needed to stop fighting, get in the fire department kind of thing, or a couple other options I got floating around. But I don't want to quit fighting yet. I enjoy it. I know, because as soon as I hang them up, I'm going to crave it again. I've seen it happen with other guys. I'm a competitor, and if UFC let me go, I would love to come over to Asia and fight. There's a couple good shows over there, and I think it'd be a fun experience to go compete, in Asia and Europe more. Bellator's an option, but man, they seem like they have a lot of guys on the roster. I see a lot of guys sitting on the shelf, not fighting all that often. But again, 1 or 2 fights a year is good for me. I'm not trying to fight 5 times a year. Too tough too tough with the family and just being an older dude. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm just gonna kind of go with what happens.
Definitely, like if you do come over to Asia or go to Europe, I'm pretty sure any promotion would be happy to, accept this type of style that you bring to the cage.
Yeah, man. I bring it every time I fight, and people know that, and the fans who've been following me can respect that, and I'll keep bringing it as long as I can, man.
Definitely, man. Well, you still have, the UFC to worry about May 18th in Rochester, New York. A big matchup for you, Patrick Cummins. Thank you for your time, Ed, and good luck to you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Take care of yourself. Shout out real quick to OMG Meals and Garden of Life supplements and vitamins. Appreciate all you guys helping me out. Core Elements Chiropractic and all the fans out there, backing me up.